Welcome to weatherbriefings.com. Today is Thursday, March 7th. This is your update for southeastern New York, and we'll take a quick look at our morning headlines. Today we should see some snow showers with widespread 2 to 4 inches for northern areas up to Newburgh, and 1 to 3 inches for metro New York City and along the coast. And I'll try to describe the situation as best I can. This is kind of a complicated situation, as we have seen over the last day, where totals haven't panned out to what we thought they would, and I'll try to explain why we think that is. This precipitation should linger into tomorrow before clearing out tomorrow evening, and we should see a slight warm-up for the weekend, getting into the 50s, so whatever snow does fall I don't expect should stick around for too long, but we will see a chance of rain again come Monday. I wanted to start off here with a larger picture of our satellite imagery, just so we can see the scope of this storm. We see it churning over here in the western Atlantic. See the center of the low pressure here, just off the coast of the mid-Atlantic states, and the wraparound moisture that's getting around here. We see that most of the moisture here appears to be located more in northern New England than in our areas further to the south. But we'll probably likely see on the radar that there is definitely some precipitation falling in this area. So one of our difficult things here is how this low will track further to the northeast, and if it does pull back a little more north first, that will allow this other moisture to move back in towards our area. And there's some interesting things on our to look at on the pressure fields that I'll try to describe as well, that may increase our chance for some localized heavier precipitation. Looking now at our radar mosaic, we can see some precipitation that appears to be coming in on the coast here. At least for New York, there are no reports of this actually hitting the ground right now, and we'll take a look at our Times Square Earth Cam here in a minute, just so we can see. But some of these areas may not actually be seeing this precipitation reach the ground yet, and we see some heavier precipitation that's being recorded just off the coast, and that's what we're really trying to watch later today, is if this low pressure system out here does start to move further north first instead of northeast. Some of these heavier areas of precipitation may move on shore and will change to snow and give us a chance for some higher totals if they do make it on there. Taking a quick look now at the Crossroads Earth Cam in Times Square, we can see there's certainly no indication of precipitation that is falling right now. We see the Good Morning America crowd outside. It appears that what we saw on the radar isn't exactly happening right now. We do still anticipate some bands coming maybe later this afternoon, but as of right now it doesn't appear that what's indicated on the radar is actually making it to the ground at this time. Now we're going to take a look at our temp and wind gradient field, and here's where I'm going to try to explain what we think one of the things that may increase our precipitation later this afternoon into tonight may be there's a scenario called a Norlin. It's created or found by two guys a while ago, but it has to do with the pressure field, the trough extending out of the northwest of the low pressure system, and you can kind of see some of the gradients here, and they kind of form a point just along in this direction sometime later this evening into tomorrow morning. Now this coupled with a height in the vorticity, which is a measure of how much spin is in the atmosphere. So with the trough lining up with this area of vorticity, it creates a lot of lift that'll allow for a lot of dynamics to be in place for some strong convective bands to be able to pass through, especially the southeastern New York area, maybe even over New Jersey and west or eastern Pennsylvania. So this is something we're really trying to watch over the next day or so to see how these two interact with each other and see if that's where we get really intensification of our potential for snow this evening. Looking now at our model forecast, again, this is the Euro. This one's from earlier this morning. We can see that overall it does have some moisture in place, which doesn't necessarily mean precipitation, but it does have it in, within the 100th range. So that would kind of make sense for the region for right now. That's why we use this model for one of our stronger factors in determining what we think is going to end up happening. But if we go through today, we see that some moisture kind of sticks around, and what's going to be really interesting to see is this is first thing tomorrow morning, but we see this back end moisture really wrap around into especially southeastern New York and over Connecticut and Massachusetts. So this is what we're really interested in seeing. Again, you can kind of see this is more of a western tilt of the trough here, but there's definitely plenty of cold air in place so certainly anything that does fall in this area would be snow. So we're trying to see how intense this moisture field will actually be once this evening comes, and if this actually plays out, we could see some higher snow totals. But we're still expecting about 1 to 3 inches more towards Long Island and New York City metro area, and maybe slightly higher, 2 to 4, closer up to Newburgh. But with this extra Norland component, there could be some convective bands that do drop some heavier rain, and the worst part about it is some of these could be 5 miles away from one town that'll only get an inch, and the town over could get 8 inches. So this is something we'll really be watching over the next 24 hours or so to determine exactly if this does set up and how it will impact this area. Taking a look back at our headlines, we do expect some snow showers today. My guess is most of them will be overnight. We do expect a widespread 2 to 4 inches for some of the northern areas, including Newburgh. 1 to 3 inches are more likely for metro New York City and the coastline. And one other thing I forgot to mention is there will be a good chance for some beach erosion and coastal flooding with these stronger winds from the low pressure system, similar to Sandy or some other system like that hangs just off the coast. Those northeasterly winds will be pushing water towards the coastline, especially on the northern side of Long Island, and we could see a chance for some flooding in these areas. Precipitation will linger into tomorrow, and it could be the heaviest overnight tonight before clearing out tomorrow evening. And we'll see a slight warm up for the weekend into the 50s, and again, which I expect should help limit how long the snow does hang around. And then we could see a chance of rain again come Monday. For weatherbriefings.com, I'm meteorologist Jeff Nelson. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget we should be available on our Instacast feature today. If you have any questions regarding this scenario, we'll try to keep you up to date as best we can. Have a great morning.